Well, this is the time of year a lot of you, parents especially, start asking which sunscreen, what kind of sun protection should I be using on my children and also on yourself. And joining us to talk about this, to answer our questions, of course, is dermatologist Dr. Beatrice Wang. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
And of course, such an important topic. And it seems, I was just telling you over the break, that people every year around this time, it seems that they need to be reminded that you need to put sunscreen on.
Yes, and it's a little bit funny because actually we're trying to ask people to use sunscreen on a daily basis, not just when they feel it's hot.
So would you say that is a misconception about sunscreen, that people think, oh, I just need it when it's sunny and beautiful outside?
The other misconception is that people feel they only need sunscreen when they're lying down on a beach. And sun exposure is when you go outside. And that's the message that we're trying to bring to everybody, that it's not just for lying on the beach.
And even when it's cloudy?
Absolutely, because as you know, even today the weather changes so radically. It can be pouring rain and then bright sunshine, so you never know.
Okay, so let's get to the numbers, and because you go to a pharmacy and honestly it's overwhelming to see all the choice that there is on the shelf. So before we get into what children should be wearing, what should the average person be wearing in terms of SPF?
So for every day, we're recommending SPF 30. If you are going somewhere where you're going to be exposed to a lot of sun, or in the summertime here, we like to recommend SPF of 60. We don't recommend anything higher anymore, and in fact, Health Canada is banning labeling of sunscreens over SPF 60.
And we've seen over 60, especially when it comes to children's sunscreen. So what would you recommend that children wear?
Well, I think it's very important for children and for parents with young children is to actually use physical protection. So hats, sunglasses, long sleeves, long pants if you can.
Really?
And the areas that are exposed, use the SPF 60 or 30.
Okay, 60 or 30. But how do you make that choice? And is there really a difference between the 30 and the 60? Because right now, I'll tell you, I bought my daughter 30. Is that okay?
That's fine. I mean, it's not a linear increase, so it's not double the amount of sun protection that you're going to get if you use a 60 instead of a 30. Okay. But the thing is, we know people just don't use enough. So we're trying to compensate for that by having people use a slightly higher SPF.
Okay, so having said that, when should you apply the sunscreen and how frequently?
So I think it should be a daily routine. You get up, you wash your face, you brush your teeth, you put on your sunscreen. And if you're going to be out the whole day, you need to reapply every 2 hours. Or if you're somewhere where you're going to get wet, like you're sweating, you're doing athletics, or you're swimming, reapply.
Even if it's water resistant or waterproof, it says on the label?
No such thing as waterproof. So
Really?
water resistant, yes, but if you sweat, you're going to be rubbing your face, it's going to come off.
Okay, very interesting tips. Now I want to ask you about the spray sunscreen versus the cream, because there's been, even in the news recently, that sprays are not as good as the creams because you might miss a spot. So what is your opinion on these sprays?
It's true, because it's hard for people to judge how much they're actually putting on. And some people use it like perfume, they spray it in the air and they think some of it's going to land on their skin. So we like people to start with at least a lotion or a cream, and if they need to top up during the day, then yes, they can use the spray.
Okay, and for children too, would you say the same thing? Start with
Absolutely.
the cream, and if you need to reapply, you can use the spray.
Yes, and I think a better way to use the spray is to actually spray it into your hand and then rub it on, so you get a better sense of how much you're putting on.
Okay, that's a good point. And I want to ask you, because there's all these lists that are coming out now about the top 10 sunscreens to avoid. I mean, so is there anything specific that I should be looking at on the label? Maybe any chemicals that you should be staying away from?
No, I don't think so. If you want something that's more for sensitive skin, you go towards the more physical blockers like zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, but they have to be mixed with the other, what we call organic or chemical sunscreens, because just the physical ones alone don't cover you against the whole spectrum. So you're not getting complete coverage if you try to avoid the chemical ones.
Okay, well, Dr. Wang, thank you so much again for coming in. This is a very important topic. Don't forget, put on your sunscreen even on the cloudy days.